you leave yourself with the problem that you're going to have to reduce, simplify later. And you don't want to have that. You want to keep your steps as simple as you can. Okay, so top times top, bottom times bottom. What is the new fraction going to be now that we found the common denominator? Straight across the top, straight across the bottom. What's the new fraction? 8/12. Okay. Same thing for the lower one. What's the new fraction? Yes, your work needs to look like mine, so make sure you're doing the same thing I'm doing. Now, can 8 subtract 3? Can 8 subtract? Okay, so what would it be? We know it's over 12. How much over 12? 5/12. Okay. We're going to go do the work, and then we're going to go put them up onto the worksheet, so don't worry about it yet. Our next letter, I'm going to go sideways. Okay. Our next letter is going to be W. That says -9/10, -1/6. This is the correct way it should have been written. Write it that way, please. Okay, so we're going to repeat the process again. These are not the same denominator. The one cake was cut into 10s and the other one to 6s. And as you know, the bigger the bottom, the smaller the piece. So we need to find the common denominator. We are not going to multiply them together. We're going to find a number bigger than the large one, but not multiply the two together. So what you do is you do this little trick. You go 10 times 1. Can 6 go in? Ten times 1, can 6 go in evenly? No. 10 times 2, can 6 go in evenly? 10 times 3, can 6 go in evenly? Yes, so 10 times 3 is our target. Sorry, my cat's deciding she wants to take her toy around the house, and when she walks around with her toy, she meows. Okay, so what is the new denominator though? What's our target denominator? 10 times 3 was what? 30. So that means we have to do something to the 6 to also make a 30. 6 times what? 6 times 5, yeah. Okay, so we did not multiply the two together. We found one bigger than the large one, but not multiplied together. So I'm going to redo the top. Top times top. What's my new top? $27, but it's negative. Thank you for catching that. Then we got to go top times top for the bottom guy. What's that going to be? Look again. Top times top. Pay attention. Yes, negative. Okay, so two negatives. We're combining two numbers that have the same sign. What do we do? These have the same sign, so what do we do? Add them together. So what would this be? What would this be? Negative 32/30. But is that simplest form? Is that simplest form? No. So we need to make it simplest form, but I want to go double check something. I want to see if they want, do you see that there are any mixed numbers up above, or are they all still fractions? It's hard for me to see. They're all in, they're still all looking like fractions. Okay, so we just have to reduce, we have to just simplify this. What can both these be divided by? What can I divide 32 by and 30 by to make it a simpler improper fraction? Oh, I do see some mixed numbers though. I don't think 32 divides by 6. We have to divide 32 and 30 by the same number. I don't think 32 divides by 5. Oh, 2. Okay, so what's the new top going to say? 32 divided by 2. Negative what? $32 divided by 2, what do we get? Use the calculator. Stop wasting our time. Negative 16. And 30 divided by 2. 15. But they want a mixed number. This is an improper fraction, right? So how many 15s are in 16? 1. And then how many would be left over makes the fraction part. So what would the remainder have been? If I divide 15 into 16, I get 1 whole, and what's my remainder? What's up? Yep, but it's negative 1 and 1/15. Okay, so now we're going to go look at G, because remember I'm going sideways. Going sideways. So G says negative 3/4, negative 7/12. Again, we are not going to multiply times each other. We're going to find one in between, or we're going to find one that's bigger than. So I always look at, on this first one, there was no way to make 3 into 4, right? On the second one, there was no way to make 6 into 10, but there was way to find one that was a little bit bigger. On this one, can I turn 4 into 12? Yeah, so the target is 12. I'm not changing this bottom one. I only have to worry about fixing the top one to be 12. So what am I going to do to make it into 12? Multiply top and bottom times 3. So what's my new top fraction? Negative 9/12. Yep. Okay, so are these the same sign? Oops. Negative 9/12 and negative 7/12. So what are we going to do about these? Add them together. So what would we get? 9 plus 7, negative what over 12? Negative 16 over 12. Okay. Now, can we simplify these? What can 16 and 12 both divide by? What can 16 and 12 both divide by? 4, that's right. Yes, they divide by 2, but I see that there's a larger one, 4, that will work. Okay, 16 divided by 4 is how much? Negative 4. And 12 divided by 4? Three. And I see improper fraction again. So I have to go ahead and do how many 3's are in 4? We know it's negative. How many 3's are in 4? 1. And then there would be 1 left over. So negative 1 and 1/3. Okay. So the fraction comes from the remainder. Does that make sense? Okay. So our next one, let's go look. Pardon me. All right. Here. We have the next one down is I. Negative 4/5, positive 1/2. Okay, so we look again. Can 2 become 5? Can 2 times something make 5? No. Okay. Can 5 times something other than 2 make a larger number that they can divide into? No. So this is another one of these that they just trade. Okay. Because the only way to make is 5 times 2. What's our target then? What's our target denominator? 5 times 2. Sorry. It's tricky. 5 times 2, 10. So the bottoms are 10. Top times top. What's the new top's going to be? Negative 8. What's the new bottom going to be for the next one? New top of for the next one. Sorry, I said that badly. 5. Now this just says negative 8, positive 5, right? So when we don't have the same sign, what are we supposed to do? When we don't have the same sign, what are we supposed to do? There, here's auto. Subtract and keep the sign on the bigger one. So what is this going to become? I was able to focus it. So 8, take away 5, and then what would the sign be? Negative 3/10. Okay, next one. Okay, going sideways. Remember, we're going sideways. It's K. Negative 1/4, positive 7/9. Okay. Is there an, does 4 make 9? Does 4 make 9? Can we multiply 4 to make 9? No. Okay, so then we look. If I start going 9 times 1, 9 times 2, 9 times 3, right? Is there anything before 9 times 4 that they can divide in? So 9 times 1 was 9, and we said no. 9 times 2, how much is that? 18. And 4, no. 9 times 3, 27. And 4, no. So this is another one where we just have to multiply times each other because there was nothing closer, all right, than multiplying together. What does that make our target bottom then? What does that make our target bottom then? $36, yep. What would the new top of the first one be? Negative. What would the new top of the second one be? $28. Okay, are these the same signs? No. So what are we supposed to do? Subtract and keep the sign of the bigger one. So what are we going to say our answer is? Mm-hmm. 28 minus 9 is 19. Can we get it any better than that? Nope. Okay. Next problem. Okay. So our next problem, we're moving sideways, right? Letter B. Negative 3/5, negative 3/8. But what are we going to multiply by? Can 5 divide into 8? No. So what's our target going to be? Another one of those that we have to multiply times each other. So what's my target going to be? $40. So what am I going to need to do to make that happen? We're going to have to multiply times each other, right? What's the new top going to be? Negative 24, yes. What about the second one? Negative 15, yes. Now, are these the same sign? Yes. So what are we going to do about these? Because they're the same sign. What do we do when they're the same sign? Add and do what? Keep the sign. So what are we going to say this is? Over 40. What over 40? Negative 39 over 40, and that's as good as it's going to get. Next row. My next one says M. I'll fix it in a second. Let me get it written down. Negative 4/5, positive 3/4. Right? What's our target? Can 4 become 5? Is it O? Oh, I skipped a row. You're correct. We're going to do M, and then I'll put O, and we'll put these, and we'll go like this. So we remind ourselves. I skipped a row. No, that's M's. O's is negative 1/3 and negative 7/8. So we'll go do O in a second. Let's get M done. Yeah, I skipped a row. We're going to do the row out of sequence. It's okay. We'll come back to it. Okay, I have to move this for a second. So what would our, on the negative 4/5 and positive 3/4, what's our target bottom? I know you can't see my paper. I said that. Someone needs to be listening. Target bottom is 20. Yes. So with the target bottom of 20, what do we need to do to the top fraction so I can make it a bottom of 20? What do we need to do to get the bottom of 20? We said our target is 20. Our target bottom is 20. What are we doing to get that? What are we multiplying the bottom of the top of the first one, and what are we multiplying the bottom of the second one? What are we going to do to get this target bottom of 20? What are we multiplying the first fraction by? So I want you to be specific. What are we multiplying that first fraction by? What am I going to write down? You tell me. What am I going to write down? I don't think I've been multiplying by just a 4. Look again. So what am I going to be multiplying by? Oh, 4 over 4, because we remind ourselves whatever we do to the top, we have to do to the bottom. And then the other one, what are we multiplying by? 5 over 5. Okay, So what's my new top of the first fraction going to be? Negative 16 over 20. Yes. And then the second fraction is going to be 15 over 20. Are these the same sign? No. So what are we going to do? What's our answer going to be? What are we going to do? And what's our answer going to be? Subtract and keep the sign of the bigger number. Yes. So we know the bottom is 20. Is it going to be positive or negative 20? Negative. Okay. Let's finish this row and then we'll double back for the O row. Okay. Let's finish this row and then we'll double back for the O row. So we are on N. I know it's out of sequence. It's okay. N is negative 11 over 12 and negative 5 over 8. Do not automatically multiply them together. Think to yourself about 12. Does 8 divide into 12? No. 2 times 12. Does 8 divide into 2 times 12? What is 2 times 12? 24. So we know our target is 24 because the 8 will also go into 24. We don't want to multiply them times each other automatically. Remember, we talked about that. Because if we do, we would end up with really big numbers and have to simplify a lot later, and there's more places for a problem. I see a couple people not in their cameras and it's irritating, so please fix that. So what are we multiplying 8 by to make 24 though? What are we going to do to this second fraction? What are we going to do to this second fraction to get the denominator of 24? Don't need to know what the first fraction is doing. You need to know what we're doing to the second fraction. That's the question. Not times 3. We talked about this. What are we going to do? 3 times 3. Remember, we set it up to remind ourselves, whatever we do to the top, we have to do the bottom. Whatever we do to the bottom, we have to do the top. Someone told me negative 22 for this one. What's the top of the second one going to become? Negative 15. Now, are these the same sign? So what are we going to do? Add them up and what? So it's always do something and. So when they're different, it's add them up and keep the sign of the bigger one, right? So when they're different signs, it's subtract and keep the sign on the bigger one. When it's same sign, we add them and keep that sign. Okay, the bigger sign is only for when they're different signs with each other, okay? These are the same signs, so they're both going to be negative. Because if you think about it, if I start on the negative of the number line and I go more negative, the negative is going to stay, right? But if I start on the number line and I go to the positive direction, it's getting smaller, so we have to subtract. Okay, negative 37 over 24. Is that simplest form? Can we divide the top and bottom by something to make them smaller like we did back on G and W? No. So we just have to turn this into the mixed number. How many 24s are sitting inside 37? One big one, so negative 1. What would the remainder be? 37 minus 24. What's the remainder going to be? 13 over 24. Because remember, the remainder makes the top of the fraction. That's the mix. Okay, E. 3 over 10. And negative 13 over 15. Okay, so we ask ourselves, take the big one, 15. Does 10 become 15 somehow? Can we do that? 10 times something makes 15? No. So we're going to take 15. 15 times 2. Always look at the big one. 15 times 2 is how much? Can 10 go into that? So when you're looking for the one that's the common denominator by not multiplying them together, you take the large one and start multiplying it times 2, times 3, to try and find one the smaller will go into. So we said 15 times 2 made 30 on the bottom. We said 10 times 3 will make 30 on the bottom, right? So what are our new tops? What's the top fraction going to become? Not 3 out of 10, but what? 9 out of 30. And the bottom one, not 13 out of 15, but I don't think 13 times 2 makes 10, guys. Negative 26. Are these the same sign? Are these the same sign? No. So what are we supposed to do when they're not the same sign? What are we supposed to do when they're not the same sign? Subtract and keep the sign on the bigger one. So what is the sign of the bigger one? Negative. So my answer is going to be negative. And then 26, take 9 away. $17. Okay, now we're going to double back and do the O row that I missed. Sorry, because when you're glancing down. All right. So can 3 become 8? No. Can I go 8 times 2 and make 3 go into that? No. So that's when we're just times each other. Okay. Because it was 3 that was our number we were working with. If it had been a 4, we would have checked if 3 went in. What's our target bottom if we multiply them together? 24. Okay. What's the new top fraction? What's the new bottom fraction? What are they at? Negative 8. Don't forget your signs. And then the bottom one is going to say what? Negative 21. Are these the same sign? So we keep the sign and add them up. What do we get? Keep the sign and add them up. What do we get? Negative 29. Is this simplest form? Is this simplest form? No. Can I divide 29 and 24 by something to make it simpler? Can I divide 29 and 24 by something to make it simpler? No. So then we just do the division. There's 1, it's negative 1 actually, and 5 over 24. 124 in there. Don't put the and between in the future. Just put a space or 2 spaces maybe to make it look like fraction. Okay. Next one on that row is V, like Victor. My original problem says 11 over 15 and negative 2 over 5. Okay. Can the little one divide into the big one? Yes. So the big one is my target. It doesn't have to change. What do I have to do to the little one to turn it into the big one? Three over three. Mhm. So what's the new bottom fraction become? Yep, -6. Okay, are they the same sign? Are those the same sign? No. So what do we do when they're not the same sign? Subtract and keep the sign on the bigger. So what's our sign going to be? Positive. So this just says 11 take away 6 over 15. What is 11 take away 6? 5. Can we simplify the 5 with the 15? Can we divide this by something to make it easier? What are we dividing by? 5. So if I do that, 5 divided by 5, what's my new top? What's my new bottom? 1/3. Okay. We're on L, right? So 3 over 10 with 37 over 100. Always first look, does small divide into big? Does 10 divide into 100? Does 10 divide into 100? Yes. So 100 is my target. He stays. What am I multiplying the top fraction by to make the bottom into 100? Remember, think about the whole fraction. What are we dividing the whole fraction by? Yep, 10 over 10. So what's my new top fraction? 30. Okay, are these the same sign? So what do we do if they're the same sign? What do we do? If they're the same sign, what do we do? They're the same sign. What do we do? Add and keep. No, not the sign of the bigger, Moses. That's only when they're not the same sign. Keep the sign they have. So remember, when they're both the same sign, keep the sign they have. If they're different signs, sign of the bigger. All right? So keep the sign they have. So 30 plus 37, 67. Right? Okay, now I get to jump to you because I'm back on track, right? U, -1/5 and -2/3. Can the smaller become the larger? Can the smaller become the larger? Okay, so get another piece of paper or turn it over. You can write on the back. Just makes it a little more tricky for taking pictures. If you have to go onto a second page, go onto a second page, guys. It's okay. We just have more pictures that we have to take. It's all right. So can the bottom become the top? Can 3 become 5? Yes, you can write on the back or a separate page. Doesn't matter. Can 3 become 5, guys? Come on. No. So we have to multiply times each other, right? Because 5 doesn't really go anywhere. So what's my common denominator going to be? 15. Okay. Don't forget signs. What are our new fractions we're looking at? Don't forget signs. What are the new fractions we're looking at? Not yet. We haven't got the new fractions written down. Oh, negative 3 over 15. What's the second new fraction? Negative 10 over 15. So these are both the same sign. So we add and keep the sign, which is negative. So what's our final answer going to say? Because the bottom's a 15, we just worry about the tops, right? Yep. Letter Y. 2/3 and negative 1/16. Does 3 multiply to make 16? Does 3 multiply to make 16? 3 times what makes 16? I don't think it's a 16. I think it's close to 16. We have to be exactly 16. Can 3 times something make 16? What is 3 times 6, guys? No, 3 times 6 is 18, not 16. 3 times 5 is 15, not 16. So no, we can't turn 3 into 16, right? Does 16 times 2, is that something 3 can divide evenly into? So use your calculator. 16 times 2, does 3 divide in evenly? 16 times 2 is how much? Use your calculators. 16 times 2 is how much? 32. Does 3 divide evenly into 32? No. So then we have to multiply times each other. Because the next one would be 16 times 3, and 3 was what we were working with, right? Okay. What is 16 times 3, though? So what's our target? What is 16 times 3? What's our target? $48. Okay, what's the new fraction going to become? Pay attention to signs, please. What are my two new fractions once we multiply? $32 over 48. Thank you. Pay attention to signs. What's our next one? Negative 3 over 48. Are these the same sign? No. So what are we going to do with these two numbers? What are we going to do with these two numbers then? The two tops. Subtract and keep the sign on the bigger one. The bigger one has a positive. So what's my answer going to be? 32 minus 3. 29. Okay, next one is H. right? Next one's H. H says -1/8, +5/6. Okay, so this is another good one to show that we have to find something that's kind of in between. Don't just automatically multiply. Does 6 multiply to make 8? Does 6 multiply to make 8? No. So then you take the big one, 8. 8 times 2. What do we get? 16. Does 6 go into 16? No. Then 8 times 3, what do we get? 24. Does 6 go into 24? Yes. So our target is 24. We got there by 8 times 3. What is 6 going to be multiplying to make 24? 4/4. Okay, so my new top, -3. My new top, +20. Not the same sign, so we subtract, keep the sign on the bigger one. What's our final answer going to say? Subtract and keep the sign on the bigger one. What's our final answer going to say? 17/24. Yep. Okay, so now we're on T. Right? T, 5/6, -7/12. Does 6 go into 12? Does 6 go into 12? It should be a multiply symbol, not an equal symbol. Does 6 go into 12? Does 6 divide evenly into 12? Yes. So 12 is our target. It doesn't change. What do we need to multiply to reach that target? 2/2. So what's the new top fraction going to say? 10/12. So 10 take away 7, how much? 3. Now, is there a number we can divide both 3 and 12 by to make this simpler? Yes, what would we divide by? 3. So what would my simpler version be? Top divided by top, bottom divided by the bottom. What are we going to get? 1/4. Okay, C. -4/9, +1/2. Does 2 multiply to make 9? Does 2 multiply to make 9? No. So we times by each other, right? Because we decided 9 times 1 doesn't work and 2 is what we're working with. If it had been 5, I would have gone 9 times 2, 9 times 3, checked those along the way, like we did for the 8 and the 6. We checked the ones along the way. But this is 2, it just goes right there. -8/18, 9/18. Are these the same sign? So what are we going to do about it if they're not the same sign? What are we going to do about it if they're not the same sign? Subtract and keep the sign of the bigger. So what would my final answer say? including its sign. 1/18, yeah. Okay, my next letter is an A. I'm gonna have to go on a new page too. -1/6, -2/9. Does 6 multiply to make 9? Does 6 multiply to make 9? Six times something make 9, guys? No. So then 9 times 2. What is that? Does 6 go into 18? Yes. So that was 9 times 2 for 18, right? So what is 6 multiplying by to make 18? 3/3. What are my new fractions going to say then? Don't forget signs. -3/18. And then the second one? -4/18. What are we going to do about these two? They're over 18, I know that. -3/18, -4/18. What operation we're going to do? Add and keep the sign because they're both the same. Exactly. So what's the top going to say? Don't forget its sign. Yep. So we have 2 left. I'm so close. It's because I wrote really big at the beginning. For next period, I'll know. We have R to do, right? -3/4 and 5/6. I'll fix it in a second. +5/6. Okay. Can 4 divide into 6? No. 6 times 2? Always take the bigger one. 6 times 2 is what? Does 4 go into that one? Okay, so our target is 12 and we got there by 6 times 2. What are we going to do to fix the 4? So what are my 2 new fractions going to say? Don't forget their signs. Gage, where are you? (9/12), negative. Second one, +10/12. Not the same sign, so we subtract and keep the sign on the bigger. What's our final answer going to say for this one? 1/12. Okay, one more and we're going to go put our answers on Cami and take our pictures. So -1/4, 7/10, positive. Can 4 multiply to make 10? Can 4 multiply to make 10? No. So 10 times 2, what's that? 20. Does 4 go into 20? Yes. So our target is 20. What do we need to do to the 4 to make the 20? What do we have to do to that first fraction to make it equivalent? Okay. So what's my new top fraction? What's my new bottom fraction? -5/20 for the top one. 14/20 for the bottom one. Not the same sign. subtract and keep the sign on the bigger one. So what are we going to get? 9/20. Okay. So this is what you're going to do. And I'm going to show you with mine. Okay, and then you guys know how to take a camera shot. Go down to the little magnifying glass. Lower left-hand corner is that little circle. That's the magnifying glass. Type in the word camera, and it should bring up your camera. So your camera's live. So I know some of you might not have done that. So you need to do that. Get your camera live. Okay, get your camera live. I have to get my camera 1 second. And I have to switch over. All right, so I've got my camera, maybe. Why is my camera showing blank? Let me stop share and try to relink with the camera. There's my camera. I want to show you guys how to do it, that you have to hold it up to the camera. But when you hold it up to the camera, I need you to do this for me, okay? 1, you have to make sure when you're holding it up to your camera that you get your face out of the picture, okay? So hold it up so it takes the whole camera space up, and take a picture with your camera. And then slide it up, so the bottom half, and take a picture with your camera, okay? But try and make sure your fingers aren't covering your work. I just had fingers covering my work. So I took the picture of the top half with the camera, people of the bottom half with the camera. If you have a phone, I definitely recommend take the picture with the phone. So turn off the camera for the Zoom, go take the picture for the phone. But you're going to need to make sure you share the picture with your drive. So it's in your drive. Okay. So people that are using their phone to zoom in, or people that have a phone with them, take the picture with the phone. That's what I'm going to do, because it's so much better than trying to hold it up to the camera. 2 things. You're not in it ever. And you could take a whole page. You're looking for camera. You're looking for camera. So if you have to take the picture with your Chromebook, you're going to the search button and looking for camera, turning on the camera, making sure you hold your paper up so you are not in the picture. Take the picture with your device. You might have to take 2 shots, like a top half and a bottom half. Make sure your hands are not covering any of your work. Okay. If you take the picture with your phone, go to the picture and share it with your drive. Okay, 2 things when you're taking the picture with the phone. You can go ahead and edit and get rid of stuff you don't need to. So you need to make sure if you took the picture with your phone, save the picture to your drive. And I do recommend changing the title to something that you'll recognize. Like this is Chapter 6, Assignment 12. I don't want you to add attachment. Don't do any of that. We are going to insert in this in the Cami. So you need your save to drive. So on mine, see, I went into the picture, I chose the share, and I'm saving it to my drive. And I'm changing its title. And I had to take 2 pictures, so I'm going to call them picture 1 and picture 2. Okay, save them in your drive. So if you're using your phone, save it to your drive. If you're using your device, it's already saved on your drive. You are not adding these as an attachment to the assignment. We're inserting these into the Cami. Okay, we're inserting these into the Cami. Oops, I can't spell. Assignment 12. Pick. This is activity, chapter 6, activity 12. So I recommend, if you have them on your phone, that you save them to your drive, that you name them something you'll recognize later. Trust me, I've more than once gone ahead and I'm searching for them and going, oh, where did that go again? Okay. Those that are on your Chromebook and you took the picture, it automatically puts it in your drive. Okay. So if you're on your phone and you're taking a picture, I am in the picture right now. I'm going down to the share. And in the share, if you don't have it yet, you can scroll and find Save to Drive and pick your school drive, your school Google Drive. Okay. And then make sure you save it by changing its title, or you're going to go, oh, where did I put that again? Okay. On mine, I have an Android. If you have an Apple, I'm not sure, but I know on my Android phone, when I go into my share button, right? The little button that looks like a greater than, less than, the share button. If it doesn't show up, save to drive, mine does because I've done this before. You might have to use the more feature and scroll until you find save to drive. All right. And change its title, like abbreviate chapter 6, act 12, you know, something. So when you see it in your drive. I know, but, oh, so what did you say? You went into the Google Classroom app and took the picture? I don't know. I'm just telling you this one. If you guys figure out other shortcuts for yourself, that is perfectly on you. I'm just telling you one of the ways that we can handle it. Okay. You need to get them in your drive. That's the key thing. You need them in your Google Drive because that's the key thing. Because when they're not in your drive, they don't upload quite so well into the Cami. So everybody should have taken pictures and be saving those pictures to the Google Drive. Make sure they weren't horribly blurry pictures. Think logically. Mrs. C has to be able to read it later. Okay. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to put them in the Cami. Open the worksheet in Cami now. Open the worksheet in Cami now. Oops, right idea, wrong one. Let me share. Everybody should be back off onto their cameras again. Okay, so here is my worksheet, right? Files is the same kind of thing, I believe. We're trying the Manny, do you have an iPhone? You cannot upload the photo to the assignment. That is what I have already said. Delete any photos you attach to the assignment because we are putting them in the Cami. And that is what I said all along. So you should have the worksheet open in Cami. We are going to add a page at the bottom. If you took more than one picture, you need to add however many pages your pictures you took. I took 2, so I have to add 2 pages. If you took 1, you add 1 page. If you took 4, you add 4 pages. We get it? However many pictures you took is how many pages you add. Because you are going down here to this add media. And you're going to go to your files. I have to go to Drive, actually. Go to Drive for me. I forgot I was on the other computer. And you are going to go get the pictures that you just took. And I've got to go find the ones I want because it's being weird. I need to pick. A lot of times they're the most recent, but sometimes they show up in screenshot, which is why I renamed them, so they should be here, but it is being weird about where my stuff is. Not letting me into my regular drive. That's why I have to go to files. Okay, when in doubt, I have to pull it off of my other thing. It's okay. I have to go get it onto, because this is a laptop, I'm gonna have to go tell it, I'm gonna have to put them on my laptop first. Because see here are the pictures I took. They're in my drive, but for some reason they're not showing up on my laptop, so I have to download those onto my laptop. Sometimes you'll find your pictures in download, so double check that. You should not have anything attached to the assignment except the Cami. Absolutely nothing's attached to the assignment except the Cami. You have to insert them into the Cami. So now I have them in my downloads, or I should. Maybe gotta click refresh. I just downloaded them. Where'd they go? This is the frustrating part. Finding them again. That's why I put them in download. What's this? Nope. Nope. So I picked download. Where did it go? See, this is the craziness. So you should find your screenshots either in your files download, or you should find your screenshots in your Google Drive. Then you have to go on your Chromebook and delete them since you put them on there when you were told not to. I don't know why you would have done that. Okay, so let me download, go here. Where's it going? Oh, I don't want zip files. That's the problem. Why I can't find them. Go. Open. These two need to be extracted onto my desktop. This is where the desktop is not so good. I want to put you in desktop because I'm a laptop. Now when I go to files, they should show up. Okay, get back to my Cami now. The important part. Okay, So I'm in my Cami. Maybe if this thing gets out of the way. Oh. And I go to my files. And I should have them now on my desktop. I insert the first one. Says drag to drop, right? Click. Now, once you have it there, you have to stretch it to take up the page because Mrs. Chester-Bradt is not going to read teeny tiny writing. That is why you added however many pages to your Cami as you have pictures, because you are going to create your work as the entire page, as if you wrote it there. Okay, take up the entire page. Okay, mine saved differently, remember? So if you are using your Chromebook and you're taking the pictures, they're going to be the most recent pictures you took. Okay, if you save them to your drive from your phone, then they should be in your main drive. Okay, so if you save them, if you took the pictures with your Chromebook, you could do Google Drive, but I did not, I couldn't, so I had to use my computer and my files. You have to go to files instead. And again, I have to stretch this one so it takes up the whole page. I am not going blind to grade your work. Okay, the whole page. So if you had 4, then you would have 4 screenshots on there. And we have to go put the letters up above. This is what I'm expecting you to do on your assignment. Do it on paper. Take the pictures. Okay, so we need to go put the letters that we found above their answers. D was anywhere that says 512. So I'm going to do my text box. Here's a 512 positive. So I'm going to put a letter D there. Is there any other 512 positives? Yep, right here. So I'm going to put a D there. Okay, -1 and 1/15 here. W. Do I see any more of those? No. -1 and 1/3. Oh, I see that right here. That's a G. Sometimes it'll show up more than once. Sometimes it'll just be once, and it's fine. All I'm doing is finding the answer for the letter, putting the letter above that. -3/10. I don't see that one, so did we mess that one up? Let's go look at I. -4/5, +1/2. -8, +5, -3/10. Am I blind? Did I not see a -3/10 up here? Oh, there it is right here. Okay, that's I. Okay, yeah. It's not going to say image invalid though, because you've got to use this add media. And you're going to add media either from your my computer and pick files, which some people have to use even when they're on their drive. Yes, you have to go over here to add media. And then you do either my files or you do my Google Drive, and you click it and you drop it. Okay, and you stretch it. Okay, so I'm going to give you guys until the end of lunch to have this finished. The same process works. Same process works. That you're going to do the same process. Do it on paper. Put the answers on the worksheet. You have to put the letters above and the answers below. So I don't know why I hear people leaving. That's not going to fly. So you need to put your answers down below. So that would be an equation, right? I don't know why I still see people with fractions that are sitting sideways because they're not using the equation editor. I'm not giving you full credit for that when I show you about the equation editor. So your final answers go here and the letters get transferred up here. And lunchtime gets done at 12:46, all right? I will be in my Zoom at lunch. So if you want to join me at lunch to get finished, that's fine. Have a good day.